Ladies and gentlemen, there are some superstars in our community that I think they need to come back on the show. And we talked about this a little bit prior because our guest here, Maria, she's got two important businesses that really help our community. And when you get down to what you're going to do to help a community, you got to make sure all problems are solved, right? All issues are taken care of. And that's what Maria has done an incredible job. So we're having her on here now to talk about her realty business she's an owner of. And please welcome to the studio, Maria Tabacchi. We've got our new setup for our studio, and this is the wide shot with our both TV walls in here.
Mm-hmm. It looks awesome.
Does it really? We worked hard. The guy who set this up
great.
is just an absolute genius.
It's great.
I know who set it up, but he's not. He's a little weird, but he saw the resource, and we had this TV wall sitting in our other part of the facility, and I was just like, it's not being used. And I've seen other television stations put up two TV walls, so I said, why not make use of this thing and get it up there all the time? So there it is, and we're excited to have Maria in studio, this time with two TV walls. You're so important. We felt like before you got here, we needed to put the other TV wall up. So Maria, tell everybody why it is you love the whole side of the world that you have a lot of control over, a lot of influence in. I've seen your stats. I know a little bit of your data, what you do as a leader in the community and the real estate world. Talk about that and why you love doing what you're doing.
I love real estate. I've been doing it, I'm going on 23 years now. And to me, it's very important because you're helping families, and it's just a great feeling all the time just to bring together buyers and sellers, people that are looking for houses, people that are selling houses, and just finding that fit. It's like playing matchmaker. I love it. It's very good. Career.
Yeah, and there's nothing more fundamental to the livelihood of a family except for the place that they raise their kids, right?
Exactly.
And you build that family. So that's what we'll talk about. Quick shout out here to everybody first. Carroll House Furniture. I was just talking to Brooke the other day. Such a great guy. We got a big event coming on, and he's been so supportive of everything. I want to talk to him about that going on. He's been a sponsor of the show now for our full first year. We're almost to an entire year now. We started February 6, 2022. We're January, this will air mid-January, about a week before all that comes up or so, next week, whatever. And we wanted to get something quick in before we had a whole bunch of other stuff. Maria, we talked about having her on. She said, yeah, I can do it. Let's come on and do this interview. So with that, I want to put up on the wall behind us, when you get these kinds of influential people, you do want to mention them. But we also shout out to our friends at USA Mortgage, and Steve Flowers and the Flowers team have really made it easy for me, and we just love working with them. I played ball against Steve most of the time, got to know him, had him on my Cowboy and Judge show, talk about when everything was shut down, what it's like to be a semi-pro or pro athlete in a big stadium. He played at Minneapolis, the Twins field, and it's like, what's it like? And nobody was there, kind of like it had been going on there. And he talked about that with my buddy Eric Walls, who played for the Royals, came in, and we all talked about that. That was kind of neat. But I reached out to him, and we said, let's do this. I had some other people trying to get me stuff with them. And I said, let me talk to Steve first. I think he gets first shot at what we could work on. So we're doing USA Mortgage and his wife, Emily. Incredible resources they bring in. They're awesome. So we give them a little bit of what's going on. But with that, now let's jump right over to Maria. Let's put it up on your guys' new website here. I'll put that up on the wall here. Mm-hmm. Tell me about this. This is kind of a new thing we've got going on. Everybody's upgrading websites and stuff.
It's important for buyers and sellers to be able to go, and they want to search. They want to know what's out there, what's available in their price range, or what their neighbor's house is selling for. Everybody goes to Zillow, and a lot of times Zillow may not be quite as accurate as some of these sites, because these sites are pulling straight from the MLS, and they're using comparables that are truly comparable to the house. So it's a little bit different.
So this website gives an additional resource that most people don't have.
Correct.
And that's important to know.
Exactly.
And so everybody, that is gatewaylistings.com.
Correct.
And so we will make sure that gets put up and is appropriately represented. So with that, I'm going to make another cool addition here. I'm going to do an edit on the fly. We do that periodically. And so that is a gateway listings. I mean, that says it right there, as a matter of fact, because you're getting a listing that people can pay attention to. Mm-hmm. And when people don't have the listing that they need, oh man, it gets to be frustrating, and they're going, how do I get help? But you're going to help them to get to this without having to do all that.
Correct. And actually, we just had a situation like that.
Tell me about that a little bit.
Well, I have been in real estate a long time, so very customary for me to always talk about real estate. And in doing so, I had been talking to a young man who was interested in selling his house. And I have a buyer who wasn't looking in that school district, but this house had everything they had wanted. And it was only 2 years old. So this was going to be the prime opportunity for them. So being in real estate, I set it up for them to go ahead and see if they liked it, and they want to see it. So we're working on details now.
Okay. Well, and what do you think of the competitive advantage you had by having that versus what they would have been doing on their own? I mean, help us understand.
Actually, the young gentleman, he is in a situation where he didn't know if he wanted to move or not. He's driving 50 miles to work every day and then 50 miles home. So it's a long commute. So he's not even really staying at the house a whole lot right now. And because he's trying to stay closer to his work. So he was like, what's my house worth? So I, of course, pulled his house up, gave him information immediately, told him what his house was worth. And he was pleasantly surprised. And then, like I said, it just clicked that, hey, my buyers might be interested in this house. So.
And thanks to the resources you had.
Correct.
That would not have happened otherwise.
No, gosh, no.
Okay.
Because that young man would probably just keep that house and just keep it and keep it and keep it. And he's not utilizing it.
Well, and that's where people get caught up with. Do they have more house than they own? Than they should.
Correct.
Because of related to that. I mean, that causes problems for a lot of people.
Correct.
Okay. Good stuff. Well, let's go down and talk about some of the core things. I mean, what compelled you when you said I wanted to get into the real estate world? This was 23 years ago.
I know.
Why did you decide this is what you wanted to do?
My mom has been doing it since I was 4. Maureen, she's the broker owner of our office, and I grew up with her always going on appointments, and she would take us with us, showing houses, open houses, going to the office, and I swore I would never get into real estate. But then I also didn't like school, so I really didn't want to go to college and have to do 4 more years of even more difficult school. So I said, well, I'm going to get into real estate. And so I ended up going to school my summer vacation there and took the test and passed, and then got my broker's license shortly after. Well,
that's a key. That's an important step in life. Getting the license is the hard part for a lot of people.
Oh gosh, yes.
And it's a test that's pretty difficult,
yes.
if nothing else. And so when you get through that, now and 23 years ago, that was still a requirement. I know in the mortgage world, we didn't have to have licenses. Back when I first did mortgages, back in 2008, went away from the industry. They kind of merged my marketing with it, but then it was required to get past this test. It's not easy.
No, it's not easy at all.
That makes you qualified as an expert. Is that right? And
correct.
It makes it better. All right. Well, then here you are. What would you say led you along this path? And 23 years is a long time.
Well, I got into it. I
you started when you were 14 or 7 or 6. Or,
right. No,
okay.
18, but still.
All right. Yeah, so,
it felt like I was that young because you get into a business and you're the youngest person in the business. It wasn't very popular for 18-year-olds to be in real estate.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So I started, and my first year, I think I made under 20,000 and thought I was rich. But then, every year you grow in real estate. You just keep growing and you get more knowledge, and then you are helping people constantly. So that's just such a rewarding feeling.
Well, the idea of helping people to me is what's most essential. Take a look here. This is Maria's website up here on the screen. This is her, and you can get through to her through her website that is available to everybody, gatewaylistings.com. I'm going to put this on the screen for everybody to take a look at and make sure my buttons are working here. There we go. And there you go.
Yep.
Dynamite information there. Some of your listings down here, obviously, too.
Yes, correct. These are some of the properties that we've sold. Most of them, these are listings that we've had, and other companies have brought in buyers as well. So.
Yeah, so just about everything you want to find out about Maria, you can do so right here. The expertise and years of experience she's got. Well, all right. What is your personal passion and something you enjoy, a hobby outside of work? I mean, this is a new question. I don't know. We sent you the question since the last show. This is something new.
This is new.
And so some of the stuff we like to cover, like we ask it because I want people to know what is it drives you, and a lot of times they tie together to the business world that they work in. So what if you had to say your passion outside of this that may be relative?
I honestly, I love people. We've talked about this before. I said I truly enjoy working with people. So I like going out. I like I have a group of friends that do bingos on Wednesday nights, and I think it's fun. It's it's nothing spectacular or fancy, but it's fun, and it gets people together. And when you're together, honestly, you get business from being out and about and talking to people, because real estate is very much so a referral business.
Yeah, it's where you better get to know the people you're working with and the ones you're talking to, because they're the ones who, if they like you, they'll work with you. They'll refer you a lot of business. This is how you survive in the real estate world, for sure. Well, tell me, what it is about your business you feel fuels your passion? If there was, is it that interaction and helping people?
It is. It's the helping people. It's the rewarding feeling of helping them with their largest investment, and knowing that I'm taking care of them to make sure that they get exactly what they want and need, and in the price range, or get the price that they need. It's a very rewarding feeling. It's like playing a matchmaker.
Well, and for the most important asset that most people have in their life. We're doing a seminar coming up, and Steve and Emily are going to talk about why a house is so important with that. We're going to do a speaker's tour. I think we're going to have to put you on that tour.
I would like
with us around St. Louis. It's going to be really neat. Filled up the first one so fast I didn't even get. I just sent out whoop and everybody. But it was only 8 speakers. It's going to be a lot of fun. What's one thing you really feel that sets your business apart? And you talked about the website, but talk about more of when you're working with people and what you're doing to really communicate or getting business done.
It's really, to me, it's a lot of communication and customer service, because this is people's largest investment. It's their house. That's where most of their money is going. This is where they're going to raise families, things like that. This is where they're going to grow, or they're downsizing. Either way, but it's a rewarding feeling to help them get in and get what they want, and know that
they've got it.
Yeah,
they're covered.
They're happy.
That's one of the scariest
it's
things
like
for most people to deal with. I mean, they're like, did I get the right house? Do I have the right school district?
Okay.
Do I have the right resources? Is there a supermarket close? Right. And all that stuff has got to be considered. I don't know how you do it. I mean,
Being from St. Louis helps quite a bit, because you know the areas, and you can tell everybody, you can tell them, oh, there's a grocery store right down the street, or oh, here, let's pull it up on the map. I can show you where this is and this is, and it helps them quite a bit, especially if they're not from the area, because we get a lot of relocation people moving to St. Louis. So,
tell me, what is one? If you could give me just one mistake that a lot of professionals, or people that are at least in some, I guess once you're getting paid, you're considered professional. But there's a lot of people that are really new to this. What's one big mistake a lot of people make that they didn't realize was going to hit them when they start to be a professional in your industry?
I see a lot of people make the mistake of saying things they shouldn't. I also see a lot of people making a mistake of just not knowing as much as they should before jumping into things. So I think, really knowing your industry is huge, because if you're helping somebody with that large investment, and this is going to, inevitably affect their family and their life, it's a big decision. You don't want somebody who doesn't know what they're doing it. It's like a brain surgeon. You wouldn't want me doing your brain surgeon, I'm sure. Or brain surgery, I'm sure.
If you were a specialist as such, I might, but obviously you don't want to, but you're not, and we know that's not even what you're pretending to be.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, great point there. Give me a tip you would have offered to the realtors out there. When they're first getting started, what was one thing you'd say, well, this is something that they definitely need to make sure that they understand or take
They
control
really
of?
need to shadow an agent that's been around for a long time, because you're going to learn a lot from those agents. Those agents are respected in the real estate community. They're well known, and they do nice, ethical business, and they're good people to shadow, because you find out how real estate truly works and what you should do to be successful. So a lot of places where people come in and they start working for a brokerage, they don't get somebody that they can shadow. They need somebody that they can shadow.
Well, very, very important, and to learn from the pros. And yes, it seems so many. I guess is there people out there? I can imagine that's vital. I mean, if you're not following somebody, but I guess some people, they join an office and they're like, go out there and get some people, and when you bring some in, then we'll come and sit down with you.
Exactly, and that doesn't benefit anybody. It really doesn't. And honestly, any company that would do that, that's just it's hurting them more than anything. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, tell me then. One time you really felt that you made an impact on a client. Some client you had, a dire situation, they felt like, and this In this world, you've got sometimes critical stuff you're going on here. A place to live, something's going on with the family. Tell me a time where you feel like you've really set yourself apart there.
I would say back when short sales were very popular.
Oh, wow.
I did a lot of short sales for a lot of people, and that made me feel really good. Now, it did make some of my hair come in white, but it was a great feeling because a lot of people were upside down on houses. They had no idea what to do, and everybody felt like they didn't want to be judged for, we're in a situation. A lot of people were in a situation. That's what, the things had changed. And so when they would come to me and say, hey, we're upside down on our house, which means we owe more on our house than the value, they would ask, sometimes they'd be crying, and it was awful, and you felt for them and you wanted to help them. And that's one thing that I usually do with all my clients is make sure that I treat them like I would treat my family and make sure they're taken care of.
Yeah. So. Well, that's obviously a key to your success too. That makes a difference.
Yeah.
When the process is going on here, when do you feel like people say, I've decided I have to work Maria? What is that process that somebody goes to and says, I'm ready to work with you? Where do they go from here?
So typically if they don't have a pre-approval for a loan already, we try to hook them up with one of the reputable lenders in the area, like yourself,
right,
with USA Mortgage. And then we go ahead and get them pre-approved, because it's really important to know how much you can afford before you just start shopping. I mean, that seems like it would be a recipe for disaster, just going out and purchasing without knowing if you can afford it. So we try and get people pre-approved, make sure that they are. Once we know their price range, we ask them what they're looking for. We plug it into the MLS. We give them everything. If we're not finding what they're looking for, we have some extra little resources that we go to and see if we have anything that might fit their needs that maybe isn't on market yet.
Yeah, well, somebody with your kind of experience, you obviously have resources that some people don't have. You've got some knowledge and information. They talk about if you're going to be successful in this planet, it takes 10,000 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Right? If any business, organization, profession you're going to get into, 10,000 hours. Well, if you average 2,000 hours of work per year, it's going to take you 5 years before you can really say, I'm at any kind of a professional level.
And I agree with that in real estate for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's not something overnight where you're like, oh, I'm the most successful person ever. Doesn't really work like that.
Yeah, and that's something to keep in mind. Maria here, 23 years. She
Yes.
started when she was 4, I think we figured out, because
Yeah.
you look very young, but
Thank you.
we're not trying. Well, I appreciate that. Tell me one big challenge with that many years in the industry. You've probably had a few times where you were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this problem, and it came about, and you learned from it. Did it still finish up and you got it done? Maybe not. You learned from it, or maybe you fixed it. Tell us a time where you can say that's something you dealt with.
I would say when I first started, the biggest hurdle was being 18. There are not a lot of 18-year-olds that were out selling houses. Clients would ask, what's your age? And you kind of would stay away from talking about that because you didn't want them to think, oh, I cannot trust an 18-year-old to be selling my house.
Right.
Well, you can when the 18-year-old has passed the real estate exam and has been shadowing somebody for basically their whole life.
Right.
So
your mother. Right.
It's kind of one of those things that you just know and you're good at, and why upset the apple cart? If you're good at it, keep going.
Well, somebody like yourself, I think that's a great point to make. Is we got the history here. We're looking up on the TV wall up there. This is the website that for Maria, gatewaylistings.com. I was looking through there earlier to check out, and I saw Maureen, your mother. I thought maybe it was your sister, but you guys look very similar. It makes sense. But yeah, how long has she been in the business, and what kind of extra? It's great to have somebody like that on your team, obviously.
So I guess, let me see, 40 years. I don't want to say how old I am, but let's see.
I understand.
She's been in for 37 years now.
Okay, so between the two of you, I'm doing 23, 37, 70 years of expertise.
And my brother.
And your brother.
And he's been doing it for 21 years.
Okay. So if you want to get a house, somebody you know that you can trust to get you a house, that you know the process is going to be followed correctly and it's going to be done with all professionalism, that's why we decided to have Maria come on here to talk about that. And that's really, really key to it. All right, we're not done. We got some important stuff to cover here. So tell me, what was one favorite, this is kind of off the beaten path, but we like to cover this. What is recite one favorite quote you have from your favorite movie?
So people laugh at me because I always say, like, I really liked the movie Taken with Liam Neeson.
Okay.
And there's a part in it. Well, I changed it to fit my business basically. So I have this whole little spiel that I do, and it says, if you are looking for a house, I have a very particular set of skills that I have acquired over a very long career, skills that allow me to help people like you find a house. I will look for a house for you. We will find one, and you will close.
Very well said. That
Thank
is
you.
a caveat from a very well-known movie.
Yes.
And Liam Neeson, Star Wars and all the stuff he's done.
Very big
And,
actor.
You will do what I say. But taking control of the situation, making sure that, because I can tell, I mean, people they're very good at what they do as their profession. Somebody that's a teacher, a doctor, a lawyer, but getting into this real estate thing and they're going, oh, it's only a $400,000 asset that we have to worry about,
Right.
Or a $250,000 asset. It's a big part of their financial picture. And if
Correct.
it's not done with all T's dotted and I's crossed, I said that backwards
Yeah.
on purpose. I see if you're paying attention. But you got to get that done. If you don't have those done,
Correct.
and that's where all the expertise and everything you guys have
Correct.
in mind. So you're going to make sure that they have all of those pieces put in place
That's right.
correctly. That is very cool. All right, tell me if somebody you start to work with them, or you're at least asking them if you would like them to be their agent. What's an objection? What's something somebody comes up with? They're like, well, I've got to think about this, and I don't know. And what are the things that people worry about?
I hear the two main objections all the time. Oh, we can't afford to pay the commission, or we don't want to pay you thousands of dollars. Here's inevitably what happens. For sale by owners put their house up for sale by owner. It doesn't sell. They're paying the mortgage every month. So they're paying that thousands of dollars every month. Then in addition to that, a lot of times buyers and sellers don't like working together, because if there's a little bit of a question about something or a little bit of a concern, sometimes dealing with the person direct isn't what they want to do, because it can cause a little tension. Real estate agents, of course, are the buffers between that.
Right.
In addition, a lot of times the commission is built into the price. So you're getting this price, but our commission's covered. You're not losing per se, because at the end of the day, a for sale by owner is typically going to call us anyways. So they're losing time, money, and then they end up calling us anyways. So that was the big one, first objection. The second one is usually because of they think realtors are like used car salesmen, and I will assure you that I am not like used car salesmen. So
I guess probably very profound. You've always been on the ball.
Thank you.
Working with you. And that's a key. Well, both of those are very important. It's a stat I've heard, maybe it was you brought it up, but people a lot of times think that they are saving money by not having a realtor, and they don't realize that the average house sells for 20%, 10% more.
I think it's at least 10% more.
And so
with realtor.
on a $300,000 house, everybody, 10% is $30,000. So you're going to say the commission for the real estate agent is not even close to that. It's 3 to 5, 7 if they got both sides of it, I guess.
Just depends, but really,
And,
you're still making more money.
You cost yourself money by doing this.
Correct.
Not a good business practice.
It's not.
A lot of people don't understand it, and when it comes down to big decisions like this is something that you would think that most people would understand this, and that's why the realtors who do well, obviously, are the ones who do well.
Because it's all about explaining it to people, because a lot of people just don't understand it. It's just, they look at it very, tunnel vision of this is what it is, but it's not that.
Well, good stuff again. What gives you the most satisfaction from doing all this stuff?
Helping families, for sure. Helping families get into the houses that they want. People that, when I get a text from a client that says, we never thought we could have something like this, or we are so, our family is so grateful to you because we didn't know if we'd ever be able to sell this house. Or, there's so many things. When you get that kind of message from somebody, it's the most rewarding feeling ever, because you've helped them and they're ecstatic about it. It's changed their life.
Yeah, very important and so critical to what we're talking about.
Yes.
Well, tell me if you would, I know there's a lot you contribute to the community, but what would you say the one thing you feel like you contribute most to the community?
Oh gosh, my charming personality. No.
It's true, everybody. It's true. It's true.
No, I really am into just helping families. That's huge for me, helping people get what they want. And then, with having my family in it, we're a family business. So we're not, a franchise. We are a small family business. And so we like dealing with families, because there's no corporate America involved in this, so to speak. So
Well, there you have it, everybody. And if you want to make sure that your house is taken care of, sold or purchased in a fashion that's going to be done the correct way, all the information you can imagine is here. We've got 2 TV walls with both of her websites, or parts of her websites on it, for a family-owned organization, business that's been doing a great job. And so we're just really excited for what you bring to the community. Tell me if there's one thing you enjoy about St. Louis. What do you personally do for fun in this little town we call St. Louis?
I love going to the Cardinals games, clearly.
Okay.
I mean, that's
good answer.
obvious.
I didn't make her say that.
No, he didn't. I actually really do enjoy going to them. So we get some UMB tickets from one of my clients, actually. And yeah.
Well, that's where we have to put the Cardinal Cowboy hat on.
Of course.
You really you normally put the hat on when you're doing when you've said something that obviously contributes to the community. I missed that. You already talked about that. Should have put a hat on earlier. But when you said Cardinal game, hey, that's what we're doing.
Got to do it.
That's where it's absolutely critical. Well, I'm going to take a moment here to show everybody this is the new website. We're going to browse the website just a little bit, so you'll be able to see here on the screen that what we're looking at. But this is the new gatewaylistings.com website. And as we scroll down here, just a lot of great information. If there's any key elements to this, I saw lots of great resources, because you've got drop-down menus up here with additional information. Here's a list of resources while you're talking about community, frontier, investors, title, homeowners, mortgage. I mean, you've got schools, relocation, weather. Wow. Yeah, all considerations for what people are getting into. Market analysis. Am I missing anything? You've got a ton of
I mean, contacting us or getting signed in, we're not going to send you mail and drive you crazy. We're going to probably reach out to you once and give you our information and say, if you need our assistance, definitely get in touch with us, and we'd be happy to help.
Well, and you can put it together right there on the website, so there's easy information for everybody to gather.
Exactly.
To get back to that. And it's just really exciting to have a professional like yourself who does a great job, and that's what we want to highlight. The whole point of the show here for most everybody that if you haven't tuned in before to the Your Little Castle show that's on ABC, I talked to our production people down at ABC today, and we're hustling to get this one in, because we want to get a special featured edition in here, and Maria took the time to come in for this because we want to highlight these kinds of things, and it was timely for what we're trying to do with our show, and really important, I think, because realtors and real estate, there's a reason there's a lot of people that get into that, because they want to make a living. There's a lot of money to be made in their life.
Correct.
But you have to be a professional, because it is so competitive, and if you're not going to be on the ball all the time. So give me some closing thoughts for people when they're really thinking about
getting into real estate or buying and selling.
And all of it, the whole thing. If
you're thinking about getting into real estate, call me. I'd be happy to talk with anybody and give you, my knowledge of what I went through and the experiences and things like that. And then anybody who's buying or selling, just please try and work with a realtor that, that knows your area, that knows, that's going to take care of you. At the end of the day, that's going to be the most important. Make sure they know what they're doing, and they're going to take care of you. That's number one important.
And I would bet you could even call Maria and she'd say, yes, they do a good job.
I would. I'm 100%. I have some great realtor friends.
That's the real professionals, how they
100%.
Operate. Awesome. All right, everybody. You've been enjoying the Your Little Castle show. Stay tuned for more, and we will be back. Thank you.